Good morning, good morning, good morning, everyone. How are we all doing on this Monday morning? God, that is a really nice sunrise, isn't it, there in the background? This is Reganelite. Good morning, everyone. This is, I keep saying that over and over again. How you guys doing? I hope you guys are all doing well. I hope you had a lovely weekend. And I hope you guys enjoyed the 2 Davis show. Very fascinating show indeed. Do go, and if you can, do check out their show later on today at 4 o'clock. Will be very fascinating indeed. Some really good stuff from them. So do check it out later if you get a chance to do so. Big thank you again to Dave McGuinness for the shout outs on his program to bring some of his viewers over. Much appreciated. Just a reminder for myself, I'll be going live tonight at 8 o'clock for Reganelite's Viewpoint. We'll be looking at some of the news that's happening tonight as well. So if you guys want to join me for that show later on, please feel free to do so. This Thursday, myself and Dave McGuinness, plus 2 guests this Thursday for the round table. So if you guys want to join us on Thursday, please feel free to do so here on this channel as well. It will be on YouTube specifically. It will not be on YouTube and Twitch, just for reference there. For those who are new here to this live stream and what I normally do here on this show, just for reference, I give today's daily quota. We have a look at the weather that's happening for the next couple of days, and we'll also look at some of the news that's happening in the UK and parts of the world. There's quite a few different stories to talk about. We're not just going to cover one specific story, what the papers, the headlines is. We actually go to the websites themselves and see what stories they have to share. So, for example, like The Guardian, Sky News, BBC, Associated Press from America, Al Jazeera as well. A couple of others there, and just see what headlines they have, maybe some that may be more intriguing than others. So that's what we do here, and we do this for about an hour. We stop at 12 o'clock there, so for those who are new here. So if you can join us for an hour, great. If not, I can totally understand as well, but I appreciate everybody popping in nonetheless. So let me just say good morning, Ellie. Hope you are doing well. Good to see you there. Julie Brown, good morning. Yep, coming just from the 2 Davies show. Does a great show, doesn't he? Good morning, Alison Keir. Thank you so much for the £2 super chat. Thank you. And he said good morning to everyone as well. Good morning to you, one of our moderators. Hope you are doing well. And Peter M with a very kind £2 super chat as well, saying good morning to everyone as well. Good morning, Peter. Thank you so much for that £2 super chat. Much appreciated, you guys, both of you. Very generous super chats. So just a couple more away from the goal today. Good morning, Jeanette. Hope you are doing well. Going to make a coffee. Enjoy your coffee, indeed. No worries. Good morning, Tina from Dundee. Hope you are doing well. Thank you for coming in. I'm most appreciated. Matti Von Erich, good morning to you. Hope you are doing well. And anybody else who may be lurking in the chats, thank you guys so much. Right, let's get started because only got an hour. So here is today's daily quota. Here it is here, if you want to have a look. And if you want one for yourself, you can get it at www.littlepennysports.com. And shooting myself in the foot here because I said to myself I put the link in the description. I still haven't done that, guys. So yeah, you can get one of your own. It's basically like every day there's a different quota that I share with you guys here on this platform. There's like jokes ones and all sorts of different ones that you can get. And it can just, maybe it'll make a difference. Or a joke one that can make you laugh and all that kind of stuff. So it might be worth looking into for yourself if you're interested. But here is today's one. And the reason I show you guys is that it's not one from me. It's one that the calendar has said, guys. It's from Tony Gaskin here saying, if you can't do anything about it, then let it go. Don't be a prisoner to things that you can't change. If you can't do anything about it, then let it go. Don't be a prisoner to things that you can't change. That is today's daily quota. I hope you find that quote helpful to you in some way, shape or form, because sometimes we have to let go of things that we don't necessarily want to. Tomorrow's one is a very simple one for tomorrow. Look forward to sharing that one tomorrow with you guys here on the platform, because we do this every day, Monday to Friday at 11 a.m. So I hope you guys enjoyed tomorrow's one as well as today's one. I got one that swore every day, says Julie Brown. I love you got one that swears every day. I like that. I love that. That's awesome. That's awesome indeed. Okay, guys, let's have a look and see what the weather is saying for us today, guys. So here it is at the moment. For those who are referencing, I'm using the bbc.co.uk/weather map. Just for reference, if you guys are wondering what I'm using here. And it's at the moment set on 6 o'clock today. So this is what Europe looks like right now. Well, Europe looks like a bit later on. If I can scroll it back to what it's going to be in about an hour or so, but we'll say 6 o'clock just for reference here. But we can see here parts of Europe are quite chilly. Bern 5 there, very chilly there. Madrid 12, Lisbon 18, Rome 14, Nice 15. Look, it's still 12 degrees. Madrid actually the same temperatures as London. That makes a change. Zagreb 7, Vienna 9, Prague 9, Berlin 7, Warsaw 6, Budapest 11 there. Minsk 6, Moscow chilly 4, St. Petersburg 3, Oslo 5 there, with some forecast of snow up in the mountains there, you can see. Scrolling a bit more further in here, we got Brussels and Paris at 10 and 10 respectively there. Oh, of course, we do need to check Iceland, of course. How could I forget poor Iceland? There, a chilly 3 degrees there. Yep, I actually been there a few years ago. A very nice place to go to there. But here are some of the temperatures here. So at the moment we're expecting a bit later on here. So yeah, as we said on Friday before we went into the weekend, there would be some scattered showers here and there around. So there will be some showers possibly in parts of England and Wales that you may experience. Again, not so much in Scotland, but yeah, most of Scotland will be dry, but there'll be some scattered showers here and there, to be fair. Temperatures a bit more chilly. London 11, Cardiff 9, Manchester 10, Dublin and Belfast 9 and 8 respectively. Edinburgh chilly 8. If we go into a bit more into the evening, the temperature starts to drop a little bit more on them. But if we go overnight into the next day here, temperatures drop round about roughly the same here. What's it like at 3 a.m.? 6, 6, 9, 8, 9, 9 there. So a little bit more chilly there. So you may need the heating on, depending on how much. It depends really where you are specifically. So some temperatures may be a bit warmer there, but yeah, they are pretty cold. Yeah, 6 is pretty cold, so probably might need the heating. If you can get away with putting on the blanket, do so. But obviously you don't want to catch anything either. But as we can see, moving into the next day tomorrow, we can see that there is a rain forecast coming in. It's going to hit Ireland. It's going to hit Ireland specifically Tuesday morning, and then in the Tuesday morning, and then a bit more later on in the morning, about 9 o'clock or so, we can see parts of England and Scotland, Wales. They're going to get hit very hard with the rain. There, it's going to come crashing in. Pretty much Scotland is going to be covered in it from the looks of it there. So yeah, Tuesday there is big shower of rain coming in here. Let me just speed up a little bit. Yeah, so that's going to be coming over. Temperatures is going to increase 15 degrees again. Like it's still early November, and we're still getting temperatures of 15 and 14 degrees in Cardiff, London, Manchester, Dublin. It's ridiculous. They should be much colder. This is the impact of climate change there. It's just ridiculous here. But yeah, this big pouring of shower is going to be pretty much cascading all over. Yeah, pretty much all over Scotland, pretty much there. It will hit parts of, yeah, just looking at it there. So yeah, parts of Northern England are going to experience it. Parts of Wales is also going to experience it there. Late Tuesday night, parts of England around where I'm going to hit as well. But pretty much throughout the majority of tomorrow is going to be rain, going to be forecast. So yeah, so be ready for that there. 10 degrees there, says Indie Duck. Can't afford to use the heating. Take whatever measures you need to take, Tina. I understand it's very expensive to put on the heating, so you take whatever measures you need to protect yourself from the cold. I understand it. Me and my partner, we try very, very hard to avoid. We've only put the heat. We don't often put on the heating, to be fair, as well. So I totally understand it. It's too expensive. I can understand that. Moving on into Tuesday night into Wednesday morning here, but the rain is still coming around there. Some gusts of wind there. We can see the winds are, depending on where you are, some will be high or low winds there. Even in the middle of the night into Wednesday morning, there's still going to be parts of Scotland will be showered. Parts of Wednesday morning is also going to be showered down in Wales and parts of England there as well. We can see this big puddle of there in Cardiff into the Midlands there. That's a lot of rain there. Yeah, part of Wednesday afternoon and whatnot, Scotland's going to be okay, but this, I don't know, I think this is coming up north, is it? Yeah, it looks like it might be coming up north this here, overnight on Wednesday into Thursday morning here. But temperatures, not too bad. If you look overnight here in terms of temperature, so like Wednesday night, Tuesday night into Wednesday morning, you're not going to need the heating. You'll be fine, honestly, there. But overnight overnight Wednesday night into Thursday morning, again, okay, Edinburgh, parts of Scotland might be it, but where I am, I can get away with not putting on the heating again. But yeah, looks like that rain is going to be problematic. A bit later on, looks like later on in the week, we might have some dry spells. Maybe, possibly. Nope, don't look like it. So we're going to get some more rain there. But we'll cover that more as the days go on there. But next couple of days, we're going to get some rain, some forecasts there. So, yeah, I would say tonight it's going to be a chilly night. Yeah, tonight is definitely going to be a chilly night. Yeah, so just take precautions, guys, for tonight here. Right, let's have a look at the Guardian here. I'll pick up some liquid heat before dance class, says Indie Duck. If it gets so hot we don't heat on the oil companies will screw themselves. Is that the hurricane remnants hitting the UK? Possibly. It's normally, I think, a lot of remnants of hurricanes that hit the other side of the ocean hit us as well, to be fair. Right, so let's talk about this big story, and then we'll have a look at other stories, because it's not going to be something I'm going to constantly talk on and on about, guys. So the outgoing BBC News head rejects claims of institutional bias as Trump welcomes resignation. BBC's Tim Davis resigns as BBC Director General after accusations of serious and systematic bias in the coverage. BBC resignations are a result of an internal coup, says the former Sun editor. BBC in crisis. Why did Tim Davie and Deborah Turns resign? Will it be enough to restore trust in the BBC? People are not going to turn their backs on the BBC. It's not a case of this is the end of the BBC sort of thing. I don't see it like that at all. How a week of hostile headlines from right-wing media led to resignations. I do think there was pressure from that as well. So David Yelly says Tim Davie and Deborah Tunis were undermined by people close to the BBC board. The resignations of BBC's Director General, now head of news, over claims of bias were a coup orchestrated from the inside of former newspaper editors' claims. David Yellen, who edited The Scum, from 1998 to 2003, said that departures of Tim and Deborah follow systematic undermining of them by people close to the BBC board over a lengthy period. It was a coup, and worse than that, it was an inside job. There were people inside the BBC very close to the board, on the board, who have systematically undermined Tim Davie and his senior team over a period of time. It's been going on for a long time. What happened yesterday didn't just happen in isolation. Yellen, who also represents a BBC podcast when hits the fan, said. So, what's my take on all of this, guys? I never liked Tim Davie. I never liked the fact that the Conservatives always pointing their own appointee into that role. So, on a personal note, I'm kind of glad to see the chairman getting the boot. That's on a personal note, because I don't want somebody in that role who has a certain political bias. And that's what the Conservatives were constantly doing over the last 14 years. They kept putting in their own person in there and basically being more favoritism towards the right, shall we say, in terms of news and broadcast. And we've seen that from some of the coverage that they've been doing. Now, in terms of specifically the video editing that they did on the video they did it on Donald Trump, I said this. I think I'm pretty sure I've said this on Friday, but I'll say it here for those who weren't aware. I'm absolutely against the BBC doing that, because regardless of how I feel about Donald Trump, how you guys feel about Donald Trump, it's very important that we're not being misled or being manipulated to think one way or another, that we're being given the full information. Now, I know my friends in Scotland will say BBC Scotland is too biased. Anyway, you're absolutely right. You guys can speak for yourself about the BBC up there, of course, but I'm just speaking about the head of it in general. When you are editing to make it look like it's worse than make Trump's speech worse than what it already is, I saw the before and the after clips. The BBC should not have done that. Whoever made that decision or tried to do that decision should be fired, because you're misleading the British public. You really are. Like, yes, of course, Donald Trump we are firmly in the belief that Donald Trump incited the riots at Capitol on January the 6th, of course. But they edited it for him to say a specific. They edited out certain parts to make him say specific things at specific times, which they should not have done. And I don't understand why they did that. Apart from, I don't know, just to get on top of to get at Donald Trump. I'm not sure, but I think it was completely ridiculous for the BBC to do that. There was no need to manipulate the public there. As for what happens next, I think I saw somewhere Nigel Farage. Someone said that Nigel Farage wants cross political parties to make the decision on it. I don't want to say I agree with Nigel Farage, but I don't like the fact that just Labour, the Labour government, can get to choose who it is. I personally want it to be independent from the government, completely an independent person who has no instead. But the problem is that the system that we have right now is very frustrating. I think the BBC will be fine. It will take a while, but again, like, I just hope whoever comes in next is not somebody who is considered political. It's a bit more media-esque on, not left or right, but more balanced, shall we say. And it may change the BBC for the better. And obviously their coverage of Gaza has definitely been questionable as well on that. But yeah, we're not going to talk non-stop about it, you guys. So Labour could suffer Lib Dem-style election punishment if they raise taxes. Reeves has been warned. Warning against breaking the manifesto promise comes as speculation mounts about a rise in income tax ahead of the budget day on 26th November. She's toast. Literally, she's literally toast. She doesn't know what she's doing, and even I don't know. Well, I'm not in the economics, but I've heard enough economics basically saying that she doesn't know what she's doing. I mean, literally, Richard J. Murphy summed it up beautifully. Like, she has no control of what she was doing. She was saying things last year that are completely different to what she's saying this year, and I think a point that Max Robespierre pointed out on his YouTube channel, which I think stuck out for me at most about the Chancellor and her decisions, is that she literally said before the US elections that there'll be no tax rises on working people whatsoever. And it's just like, you can't make that promise because you can't keep it, because you don't know what's going to happen in the future. And also, you betted on the fact that Joe Biden was going to win the US presidency at the time. And it's just like we know what Donald Trump is like. Donald Trump is going to mess up the global economy, and he really did throw a spanner into the Labour government. So you shouldn't assume that you're going to have everything all in order, that everything's going to be nice and perfect and rosy, then you never have a budget like that again. You always leave yourself room open, and she didn't. Don't get me wrong, it's nice to have the first female chancellor, but she doesn't know what she's doing. That's the reality, I'd like to think that in this budget that is coming up, that we actually get the removal of the 2-child benefit cap, but it's not going to be enough. I don't know if what she's offering in it is going to be enough to appease people. I think there's going to be more anger and frustration than anything else, if I'm honest. A girl 17 joins lawsuit against UK government after seeing horrific phone videos at school. What is this about? Felissa Mashir from Devon says she saw a shooting, a beheading and porn, and that other students show you in their screen without invitation. Oh dear. Why? How is this happening? Shooting and beheading. She also received threatening messages while at school. As she puts her name to a judicial review in an attempt to get smartphones banned in schools in England. First notified the Education Secretary, British Citizen, in July, she would pursue legal action, arguing that current guidance, which allowed head teachers to decide how smartphones are used, is unlawful and unsafe for children. Videos were going around all the time. Initially, recalls her first time at secondary school for Year 7 awards. My parents were strict at home, but at school, people can airdrop you videos or show you their screen without invitation to see your reaction. My school had a see it, hear it, lose it policy, but in reality, we just use them under the desk, in the toilets, during lunch break, in the playground, on the bus, even in the corridors. It was impossible for teachers to stop us. The thing that affected me the most was a video of 2 young children playing with a gun. One shot the other accidentally. She died. We were getting off a bus and a friend came over to me with it on her phone. I had to go home early that day. I was shocked and I couldn't sleep. Still think about that video 3 years ago. It's a 17-year-old girl. How is this happening? the psychological damage that can do to children at a young age. These are psychological scars that they could have for the rest of their lives at such a young age. This is so bad. Like, if the thing is, like, we don't have an outright ban, but if teachers can't get a grip of this, then I'm sorry. The first thing you should do when a child comes into school is you take their phone from them. Like I just think it's getting to this point. Like if we here in the UK or England specifically, right? If we can't control what kids see on our phones, right? If we can't control that, then the phones need to be taken away entirely during their school period. They just need to be taken away, entirely. Like, the moment they step in, they hand over their phone. I just feel like it just boggles my mind. Second World War veterans applaud. This king leads the Remembrance Sunday tributes. As much as I wanted to attend the Remembrance Sunday, I did not have time to do so, so I do sincerely apologise. King Charles Senior Politicians leaves Remembrance Sunday. HMRC child of child benefit crackdown wrongly suspected fraud of 46% of cases. Almost half of families flagged as immigrant based on Home Office data were still living in the UK. 46% of cases. That is a terrible number. UK division of ticket resale website Vertigo hit with a 15 billion bill over tax shortfall. Companies already under scrutiny on second ticketing amid outcry over touts such as platforms to exploit the fans. Two UK divisions of this ticket resale Vertigo have been hit with a 15 million tax bill after HMRC found they had not paid enough duty. Both part of US company Sterling Vertigo, both firms set aside commodity costs of parcel. Transfer refers. Pricing refers to the way in which separate entities within a larger corporate group change each for other service goods, providing one such other. Any such transactions take place at market rates. Tax authorities are known to monitor whether companies and inflation prices artificially in order to move money from a division in a high tax jurisdiction to one based in a low tax area. The accounts did not go into detail about HMRC's finding about Vertigo's tax affairs. There is no suggestion the company deliberately sought to avoid or evade tax. UK business does not directly sell tickets to both supply groups companies during the period in question, but according to the accounts, they provide technology and customer service. Do you think the Conservatives would have chased this up if they were in power, guys? I don't think they would. 15 million combined sums set aside by two companies, both of which are registered at address at London Cannon Street, include interest that HMRC would have earned on the tax receipts they have been paid, as well as change for late payments. I've never used Vertigo, so I can't speak on them. But I'd like to think that they're better than Ticketmaster, because Ticketmaster are the bane of my existence. I can't stand them, Yeah, at least when we were in school, the bullying was left at school. Now it's 24 services in deduct. Yeah, especially when you're connected on social media now. They just can't get away from it. The sooner Reeves goes, the better. Her ambitions far outweigh her intellectual ability. Yeah, she can't handle the situation. Good morning, Scott. Hope you are doing well. I actually think she knows what she's doing, but geopolitics and the legacy of the Tory scupper her every term. No, I think she should have, and you have to anticipate possible things that can happen in circumstances that can't be beyond your control. You shouldn't make promises you can't keep as well, because it just damages your party's reputation. I just think that they should have seen the possibility of Trump being re-elected. They should have had a contingency plan for that. Teachers are put in untenable positions all the time. Yep, they are. I just think maybe we just need to ban them outright, because if we can't control if we can't control what kids are seeing on our phones, if we can't get a grip on that, then we need to take the phones away from them during their school period. We just need to do that. I know it seems harsh, but I think it should be a case of kids comes into school, they hand over their phone. If they don't hand over their phone, then you pat them down, check they don't have their phone, or check their bags and whatnot. I think that's what you have to do. I know it sounds harsh to pat them down and check them, but I think we just need to take the phone completely away from them, because again, it's too much of a distraction, and of course, when they're seeing stuff like that, it's just going to traumatize them. Other stories here. Southern Water apologises for catastrophic spill of plastic microbeads in Sussex. They're sorry, but they're still going to raise your water bills, guys. Resulting pollution from Cumbria Sand Beach posed to wildlife, including dolphins and seals. Bad beads removed by volunteers during a clean-up operation in Cumbria Sand Beach. Jesus. They've taken responsibility for the catastrophic spill of plastic microbeads. Local charities reported a huge spill of millions of biobeads over the weekend, washing up on beaches including Cambridge Sands. Andy Dissel, the founder of Plastic Pollution Campaign Group, Stan Linders, said it was the worst pollution event he had ever seen. According to Southern Water, the spill was caused by a mechanical failure at Eastbourne Sewage Works. The beads are used in the last step of cleaning process before treating effluent water is released back into rivers and seas. For identified screening filter, which apparently led to bees being used in the treatment process being released into the sea during heavy rainfall. The screen should have prevented this occurring. We're very sorry this has happened. We're sorry, guys, that we don't put more money into our system, guys. Better chancellor than Gordon Brown? I respectfully disagree. I think Gordon Brown saved our bacon. You know, when it came to the 2008 banking crisis. Personally, oh no, he was prime minister, wasn't he, when it happened? But yeah, I think he certainly wasn't perfect. But I'm not going to dig too much on Gordon Brown because of from the UK's perspective, I thought he handled the situation pretty well when it came to the banking crisis there. But I wasn't as deep. I wasn't as deep as into politics then. Anyway, as for Southern Water, like they can apologise, but at the end of the day, they're not investing enough in their systems. That's the reality. And time again, we know they're not, because their priority is making profit. Their priority is just increasing their shareholding there. Good morning, Reg. Hope you are doing well. Minimum age to have a phone to even begin with. Yeah, I think that's something that should be considered as well. That's definitely something that should be considered as well. Charity crisis to become a landlord in an attempt to rectify catastrophic housing in the UK. Homelessness charity planning to buy properties so that as it can no longer rely on access to social housing. Oh my God. The homelessness charity crisis is going to become a landlord for the first time in its 60-year history, saying the housing crisis in the UK has reached a catastrophic scenario. Matt Down, the charity's chief executive, is preparing to launch a fundraising appeal to buy its own housing stock as it can no longer get access to social housing to help homeless people. We don't want to do this, but if no one else is going to provide housing, we'll do it ourselves, he said. It's something that we would have been inconceivable for my predecessors 10, 30, 50 years ago, because people would have expected both council and housing association to provide the stock needed for people on low incomes. It is just no longer available. We wouldn't be doing this unless the wheels had to come off for the homelessness and housing system. A study from Crisis released today revealed that almost 300,000 families and individuals across England are experiencing the worst forms of homelessness, including sleeping on the streets, in tents or squats, or stuck in unsuitable temporary accommodations such as B&Bs and hostels. The study, led by Heriot-Watt University, showed that 299,000 households in England experienced an acute homelessness in 2024, an increase of 21% since 2022 and 45% since 2012. Yeah, I wonder who was in charge from 2012, guys. Homelessness among people discharged from hospitals, prisons and other institutions increased by 22% in the last year, while homelessness from evictions in the UK asylum accommodation was up 37%. Dowie said the country had not seen homelessness numbers this bad in living memory, but we've also never had better evidence on what to do about it. Nobody needs persuading when we're in a catastrophic scenario, he added. When I started working in homelessness, the average age of a death for a homeless person was 47. It's now gone down to 44. We started to see first cases of children on our streets. Doesn't seem to shock people enough. The charity has set up its own letting agency to help secure access to private renting houses for its clients. It's about to earmark it on providing its own social housing in the need to high needs people with bespoke support, starting in London and Newcastle. We're proudly going about acquiring and providing our own homes and mainstream housing because that's the answer. We won't get anywhere without the housing, he said. This should not be happening. Like, again, I have to stress this. Like, I appreciate what they're doing. I really, really do. I appreciate the lengths they are going to try and help people get them off the streets. I really do. I commend them, and I commend all charities that do that. I really cannot stress that enough. They really do make a difference to people's lives. Like, anywhere. They really, really do. But this should not be happening. They should not have to become landlords because of our governments not being able to do their job. This is... It's so infuriating that a charity has had to become a landlord in order to help with the situation. It's just so lack of care from governments, both previous and current government, to do more about this and kind of just sitting on their arse with this. And they are sitting on their arse with this. It's so infuriating. I hate this so much. I hate this so much. Because they are going to be relying so much on income, on volunteers, and it should not be happening. This should not be happening. And the government are constantly moving the goalpost when it comes to their housing target, because the target is obviously 1.5 million homes, but they're not specific on what kind of homes. You know, you can say they can say good affordable homes, but what do you mean by that? And a lot of that is based off the private companies doing the job as well. It's not so much the government putting their hands in their pocket. It's so much the private companies and incentivizing them to provide the homes. And they're not going to want to provide cheap homes. They want rich, good-looking homes so that they're on people that can actually make a difference. We need council homes. We need social homes. We need homes that people can afford to live in. And we're just not providing enough of that. Are we even building those kind of homes? I mean, the amount of times I walk over the weekend when I was traveling to see my parents, and I remember looking at some of these high-rise buildings in London and other parts, and I look at these massive apartment complex, and I'm like thinking to myself, like, these aren't social homes, these aren't council homes. They're not for ordinary people. They're more for more wealthy people or those on a middle income. What are we doing for those people? Charity doing the work of government because the government doesn't want to do its job properly. Troubled drinks giant Diago's named former Tesco boss to lead turnaround push apparently. No link between paracetamol in pregnancy and autism or ADHD in children, reviews finds. Is that because of what Donald Trump said a while back? I think so. Bar Council calls for legal aid for all family court cases involving domestic abuse. US privately equity giant poised to take over online retailer, the very group there. That gave up a lot of our time. Let me run through a couple of others UK news before we look at some international news, because I do want to talk about one specific news in a bit. Nigel Farage reform Russia leader to hail reform as a party of small business in a news conference. What exactly is he offering there? Checker Trade founder backs Farage. Oh, I wonder if he was a supporter of Brexit. Answers on a postcard, please. Tories call for further investigation into Lisa Nandy's over donation breach. Done a short video about this, but Lisa Nandy was found to have breached the public appointments code after David Corn was made chair of the independent football regulator, and he has links to Labour. So yeah, that is definitely conflict of interest. Front of UK, outgoing BBC News boss rejects accusations of bias and corruption. London crime crackdown as over 140 people arrested, including faux thieves and upskirters. It's good. Police are also deploying facial recognition technology to tackle criminals. More than 100 additional officers as they target antisocial behaviour in London West End ahead of Christmas. Among those apprehended was upskirters who filmed women. Oh my god. Man was caught standing behind season. Also arrested were two men trying to steal mobile phones from women at an ice ring in Leicester Square, who were caught with several stolen phones on them on the 5th of November. On the 6th, a black Nissan Duke was stopped in Paddington with a stinger Belt spikes purchased after tire. Driver and passenger was arrested as for theft of mobile superintendent. I mean, this is good. I mean, it's a start. Don't get me wrong. Like 140 people arrested. It's a good start. Let's hope it continues. Just hope it continues that stuff. More on the BBC. You got any other stories? Not really. Apart from woman taken to hospital after hazardous liquid thrown at her in city centre. Oh my god. In Glasgow's Butchercon Street, a 51-year-old woman has been arrested and charged in connection with the alleged assault. It's due to appear before Glasgow Sheriff Court on Monday. After a hazardous liquid was reportedly thrown at her in Scotland's busiest shopping street. Said that it was alerted to an alleged incident involving a harmful substance. Force says emergency crew attended a 46-year-old woman taken to hospital for treatment. A 51-year-old woman has been arrested and charged in connection with the alleged assault. Suspects due to appear in court. Don't have any more information. Officers in the area will be anyone with concerns can approach them. Understand it was a worrying incident. Thank the public for their assistance. Was it like an hazardous liquid? Possible acid attack. That's terrible. Absolutely terrible. Absolutely soul destroying for many people. Good morning, Billy. Hope you are doing well. Let's have a quick look at the BBC. Homelessness figures higher than official figures research show. That's a short video coming out. It's already available for members. UK to help protect Belgium after suspected Russian drone incursion. What exactly are they doing to help? Lisa Andy apologises for breaking rules on football regular appointment. Well, at least she said sorry. Which is something, getting them to say sorry is hard to come by from politicians, you know. HMRC to review the suspending 23,500 child benefit payment. Excuse me. UK seeks staying as inspiration to shake up immigration system. What's this 2 days ago? Your party over 800,000 your party fund. Jeremy Corbyn's Electoral Party is in a standoff over £800,000 held by Zara Tano, who's meant to be found in the party with them. This was 3 days ago. They still haven't sorted this out. This was 3 days ago. They still haven't sorted out the money. For feck's sake. What a joke. Your party. It's not your party. It's the clown party. Inquiry to review rise in young people not working or studying here. A finance secretary may have to revisit no tax rise pledge there as well. That's a Scotland story. Quick look at UK. Any other stories there? Hospital failings continue after Alice Frangigo's death. Leaked documents have shown. A woman stabbed in Birmingham bus stop attack dies. My thoughts and prayers with friends and family of that woman. There. Dundee and US surgeons achieve the world's first stroke surgeon using a robot. Interesting. Doctors from Scotland and the US have completed what is thought to be a world's first stroke produced using a robot. Performed the remote the removal of blood clots after a stroke on a human cavernous that has been donated to medical sources. The professor was at Nine Wells Hospital in Dundee, where the body she was operating on using the machine across the city at the universities. Hours later, Ricardo Hanno, a neurosurgeon in Florida, used the technology to carry out the first transatlantic surgery from East Jacksonville base on a human body in Dundee over 4,000 miles. Wow. The team has called this a potential game changer if it becomes approved to be used on patients. The medics believe this technology could transform stroke care, as a delay in accessing special treatment can have direct impact on the chances of recovery. Professor says it felt as if we're witnessing the first glimpse of the future. Where previously we thought this was science fiction, we demonstrate that every step of the procedure can already be done. University of Dundee is the global centre at the Centre for the World Federation of Interventional Stroke Treatment. It's the only place in the UK where doctors can operate on canvases with liquid and mimic human blood circulate in the vessels. Quote, this is the first time that we could perform the whole mechanical thrombolysis, I know I've mispronounced the word, procedure on a real human body to show that all steps of the procedure are possible, said the professor. Juliet, the chief executive of Stoke Association Charity, told BBC that the transatlantic procedure was a remarkable innovation. For far too long, people living in remote and rural areas have been deprived of access to it. I'm coming to the super chats in a moment, guys. Robotics like this could rebalance the inequality that exists in stroke treatments across the UK. Well, let me say this. If this saves people's lives, if it makes a difference to them, I'm all for it, guys. I'm all for it. Obviously, I've never suffered from strokes, but I have a family member of mine who I'm very close to who has suffered from strokes. They're over it now because they've got medication that helps them suppress it. But strokes can obviously shorten somebody's life, especially when you get older as well. And anything that helps reduce it or prevent it is a good thing. And I really hope it does make a difference to people's lives. I really, really do. Alison Keir, thank you so much for the £2 super chat. One less to hit the goal, he says there. Thank you so much. One more super chat there. I had high hopes for the party, but you can't support them at all. They can't even govern themselves. How can I expect them to govern a country, says Matty, in reference to your party. Unfortunately, I know it's early days for them. They're supposed to be having a press conference this month as well. But it just feels like one shambolic problem after another, doesn't it? Thank you, Peter M, for the £2 super chat. For another £2 super chat there. Thank you, and Alison, for your support. Appreciate it. Alison Keir also says, if Rachel adds 1p to tax, it will make Scotland get 1 billion less in the budget. She needs to talk to the Scottish government, but she will not. She won't talk to any of the devolved administrations. That's the problem. Tina says, Dundee has always been a leader in medicine. When I was a nurse, people came from all over to study medicine there. And Tina, I mean it sincerely. We appreciate you and everybody who has made a difference to people's lives. And I generally mean this. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I hope one day to visit Dundee. I generally mean that. Thank you, Alison Keir, for £2 super chat. Goal accomplished. Confetti hail. All hail the DPR. All hail DPR. For those who don't know, that's the Democratic Penguins Republic. This is Pingu, who is the Foreign Secretary for McDonald's Island for the Penguins. He and his government have been fighting the Trump administration over tariffs that were imposed on them by the Trump administration. And your funds help support Pingu and his island and their fight against the evil Trump empire. So thank you guys so much for your support. Pingu is very much appreciated. And if you're a member, you can use the Pingu emoji in the chat as well. Matty says, I meant the fact Corbyn contracted the premature launch before they even got started was a bad sign. For those who don't know, the unveiling of the party was supposed to happen at this press conference. It was never supposed to be public. It was only supposed to be made public at this press conference coming up this month. It was never meant to go public. It was supposed to be done quietly behind closed doors. And Zara basically fludged it all. And she basically went public against everyone about it. And she has been the centre of the problem since day one. She has been the problem. She has been the problem for the whole thing. I think if she was never involved in it, this would have gone off without a hitch. Because we wouldn't be talking about the party, and then there would be some press conference taking place this month by Jeremy Corbyn and a bunch of MPs, and then the announcement of the party would have been made. And it would have been so much better than what they're in now. So much better. Right, let's switch gears, guys, because I pressed the wrong button there, because we haven't talked about some other stories. I want to talk about some global news as well, because I do want to touch on these as well, because we will cover some UK news later on tonight as well anyway. So this is one of the stories I definitely want to sink my teeth into. So the Senate are taking the first steps towards ending the government shutdown, guys, in the US. So let me just read a bit into it. So the Senate have taken the first step to end the government shutdown. It's not ended officially yet, but this is the situation. On Sunday, after a group of moderate Democrats agreed to proceed without a guaranteed extension on healthcare subsidies, angering many in the caucus who say Americans want them to continue to fight. In a test vote that is the first of series requires provisional maneuvers, the Senate voted 60-40 to move towards passing compromise legislation to fund the government and hold a later vote on extending the Affordable Care Act tax credit that expires on the 1st of January. The final passage could be several days away if Democrats object and delay the process. So I'm excuse my French, but I'm fucking furious about this because the I want to make this very clear here, okay? I generally, it sucks for so many workers who have been laid off or who are still working and have not had a pay for 2 months. It's outrageous. It's disgusting. Their second pay package, and they're being forced to work on air traffic controls and all sorts of vital jobs that they have to work, and they're not getting any pay from the government. And it's heartbreaking for them. It's heartbreaking for many people on SNAP benefits who are literally who aren't getting anything in coming in the post whatsoever, because Trump is refusing to do anything with regards to that when he knows he can pay them, and the judge has literally ordered his administration to provide SNAP benefits for them. This is the same as entitlements here in the UK, just for reference, for people who don't know. And the reason why I'm angry at the Democrats for caving here, and I want to make it clear, it's the Senate Democrats, moderate Democrats here. This is not all Democrats within the party. Chuck Schumer is against this, but apparently, which is quite shocking. Because what will happen here, and you can see it here, the healthcare, as you guys know, is already super expensive for Americans. It is about to get a lot more expensive. And what the Democrats have been fighting for more than anything have been trying to hold on to to keep on the extensions of their healthcare subsidies. And if they open the government up without an agreement for healthcare subsidies, the Republicans simply turn around and just walk away from the table, because they hold the House, they hold the Senate, they hold the White House, they hold Congress. They don't need to sit down with the Democrats at all once the government opens. They don't need to talk to them at all. They don't need to bow into any pressures whatsoever. If they open the government and don't get an agreement on this, people will die. Americans will die. And I think what they're going through right now, and don't get me wrong, what's happening right now is really, really bad, because since Friday, there's been a huge amount of reductions in the aviation industry in America. And as you guys know, they don't have a train system in America. It's all driving and flying. And if you can't fly, you're going to be driving for hours. And for some businesses, businesses out there, that's a big fat no-no. They can't afford to do that. And so what I think's happened here is, I think there have been a lot of businesses who have pressured the Democrats, some of the Democrats, to change their tune on this because of the harm it's doing to businesses. Because if we get to a situation, if America gets to a situation where they have to shut down the aviation industry, the whole country goes to a standstill. The whole country will go to a standstill, and their economy, which is already suffering, will drop off. Their stock markets will crash. Their economy will drop off a goddamn cliff if their aviation industry is not working. Like, it will drop off a cliff. That's how bad it will be, because that is the direction they are slowly heading towards. Every day that these workers don't get paid, they start calling in sick or they quit their job, because what's the point working if I'm not getting paid for it? So yeah, I think the Dems are being pressured by businesses, rather than the pressure should be on the Republicans, because they're the ones who are not providing SNAP benefits. They're the ones who won't extend the Affordable Care Act. That's where the pressure should be. But instead, the pressure seems to be applied on moderate Democrats, and it's starting to work. Other stories here from the Associated Press. Look back, weekend's biggest stories. 101, World War II veteran Irene Locker has become a songwriter at the age of 101. Oh, good for him. Trump booed as he became the first sitting US president at a regular season NFL game since Carter. Of course he would get booed. Climate talks start with call for faster action and more togetherness, but without the US. Yep. Another typhoon hits Philippines as it reels from the devastation of Typhoon Kamagari. Oh, they got a second typhoon. That's not good. Paris court is deciding whether to release former prisoner Sarkozy from prison. 3 years after liberation, Ukrainian Kherson faces another kind of siege. I wonder what that's about. Most watched videos. Trump booed. Lava pours in from Kilikago in Hawaii. Oh, when was this? This is literally yesterday. That video there on the left. Literally yesterday. Volcano eruption there. White supremacist stage coup in Willamore, North Korea. Oh, that's 1878 there. Today in history. Okay. Supreme Court issues emergency order to block full snap. Oh, what's happened there? Supreme Court issues an emergency order to block full SNAP food aid payments. The Supreme Court on Friday granted the Trump administration's emergency appeal to temporarily block a court order to fully fund SNAP food aid payments amid the government shutdown, even though residents in some states already have received the funds. A judge has given the Republican administration until Friday to make the payments through the national. But the administration asked an appeals to suspend any court orders requiring it to spend more money than it is available in the contingency funds, and instead allow it to continue with planned partial SNAP payments for the month. After a Boston's appeal court declined to immediately intervene, Supreme Court Justice Kenya Brown Jackson issued the order late on Friday, pausing the requirement to distribute full SNAP payments until the appeal court will whether to issue a more lasting pause. Jackson's handle emergency matters from Massachusetts. You bitch. Her orders will remain in place until 48 hours of the court appeals, giving the administration time to return to the Supreme Court if the appeal court refuses to step in. Fuck's sake. Just so you guys know, I've got about 9 minutes left, so I will try and run through as many stories as we can here. Let's switch gears. Let's have a look at what Al Jazeera are saying here. A reminder again, I'll be live again tonight at 8 o'clock if you guys want to join me for that as well. Alison Keir says, just for context, from one side of Texas to the other, it takes 16 hours to drive, so people need to fly. Exactly. Yeah, it's just mad. I mean, some Americans are okay driving for several hours, but man, no man, do they give up? They lose so much of their lives by driving, some of them. But yeah, it's some of the lengths that some people have to go to is insane. If they had just built a rail system, they would not have this issue. But we know the reasons why. SNAP payments is average of $40 a month. $40 a month. Al Jazeera here. Live of updates: a child among Palestinians killed as Israeli air raids drones target Gaza. I haven't recorded the videos for Patreon and Rumble today yet. I will be recording them later on today for the rest of the week. But if you want to check out some of the content I've already dropped on the platform, links for both of them are in the description as well. It's free content to check out on them, guys. On Rumble, I cover specifically mainly Middle East news, mainly on Gaza. And on Patreon, I've been covering specific news stories on the USA. So if you guys want to check out either one of them, links are in for those in the description. Democrats rank as U.S. Senate averts a bill to end government shutdown. Republicans push to strip Zoran Madani as U.S. citizenship. Is it possible? On what grounds? Like, he's a U.S. citizen. Are they're going to make... Oh, I swear they're going to try and do anything and anything to get rid of him. South Korea indicts ex-leader Young on charges of aiding the enemy. Yeah, he staged a coup. He staged a coup. I'm sorry. I have no sympathy for Yoon whatsoever. Indonesia makes former President Soho posthumous national hero. Sudan medics accuse the RSF of burying bodies to conceal genocide. Why am I not surprised by that? Absolutely disgusting. Airlines cancel 3,300 US flights. That's already. Stock market surge after US lawmakers move to end the government shutdown. Yep, they would do if there's a possibility of it opening. UN warns millions of displaced by climate change as COP30 opens in Brazil. Nigerians demand their own solutions to violence as Trump threatens US invasion, which is bollocks. He's not going to invade Nigeria. He's just scaremongering. He wouldn't do that. Oh my god. Typhoon Wong killed at least 4 as it devastates the Philippines. My god. Absolutely devastating. Flooded house in Tugurega City. This is absolutely terrible. Absolutely horrible. Absolutely terrible. My condolences, of course. Britain's call it safety is censorship, says an opinion piece there. Can't appeal to everyone, can you? Let's have a look at CBS News, and we'll go back to the UK in a second. Government shutdown. Trump suggests $2,000 tariff dividend for Americans. Trump admin cannot withhold $4 billion in SNAP benefits. Appeal court's rule. Well, we just saw Supreme Court step in, didn't judge step in. 5 wounded, 1 seriously in a shooting outside San Francisco supermarket. Arctic blast to bring fringe temperatures to most of the US. More than 105 million are under winter weather bulletins, with several states expected to see lows to 10 to 25 degrees below normal. Yep, cold. The cold is there for parts of the US. What else they got here? Trump booed. Yep, Trump booed. Coffee may protect against irregular heartbeats. A new trial has found it has long been unknown what effect, if any, caffeine has on the affiliated fibrillation. So apparently it protects against irregular heartbeats. Apparently, interesting there. Any other interesting stories? Don't see too much there. Sports story there, and there's that 5 wounded, 1 seriously in shooting there. Man charged with double homicide told New Mexico deputies a cockroach told him to kill. Sorry, I'm just going to open up that headline. I'm not joking what I just said. Yes, you heard what I just said, guys. Man charged in double homicide told New Mexico deputies a cockroach told him to kill. Alex Hernandez, 25, is facing opening 2 counts of murder connection with the Friday incident, according to Bernal County Sheriff Office. Cockroach told him to kill, guys. Yeah. I don't know what to make of that, but, you know. People are nuts. Zach Polanski says, Starmer, it's not a man I'd be willing to work with. I don't know how many of you watched the last leg on Friday. I think it was on Friday. Zach Polanski was on it. I only saw clips of it, but he was absolutely brilliant from what I saw. The last leg is a show on Channel 4, I think it is. I don't know how many of you have watched that show, but he was pretty good on it from from the clips I've seen. This is the Independent for reference. Anyone wondering where this is from? Cuts to victims. Service will cost more than save charities warm. Yep. Absolutely it will. HMRC reviews suspension of child benefits. Why does the UK want to model its immigration system on Denmark? I don't know if that's really going to help us. BBC apologised to Trump. People who reach state pension age should be paid even if they die. How can you pay someone if they die? It just goes to their next of kin. So you're saying that their next of kin should get that money? No, I'm not 100% convinced on that. Tens of thousands in Portugal protests proposed Labour reforms. Health Minister says BMA leaders turning unions into farce. 2 on 4 on the run prisoners mistakenly released in 2024. I'm pretty sure that was a Friday story. Let's just check the front of here. Yep, stabbing we saw. When will it next snow in the UK? Never! Have you not been paying attention to the climate change? Maybe in late January, February, possibly, but that's about as best as you can get. It'll be more cold. It's normally colder, isn't it, in January, February? I think it normally is now. Any other interesting stories? No, some of these stories are pretty old. There's got about a minute left. We'll have a quick look at the Times. I'm not going to have enough time to look at African news or the Kiev Independent. Ministers urge to tackle shocking rise in homeless. Calls to end pantomime required for firms to win state contracts. Forget to buy. Britons are moving here to cut tax bills instead. Can't open the story if anyone's interested to hear. The silent welfare disease is crippling a generation. Why the women outlawing violent porn is just getting started. Deporting jail staff for earning too little will fuel the crisis, Minister warns. Yeah, we kind of need prison staff, so I would not recommend doing that. That would not be a very good idea there. I suppose we could have a quick look because we still got just over a minute here. Let's have a quick nose. Cameroon gives the 48 hours to release post-election detainees. Yep, Cameroon's. I swear to God that election was rigged, and so was Tanzania's one, because they've charged hundreds of people from the election fallout. Angola celebrates 50 years of independence as social inequalities persist. Australia run exercise for infectious disease response. Hundreds charged with treason in election fallout from Tanzania as well. Just looking at stories on the right here. Trash to treasure, Johannesburg River race transformed into art. What's this? A group of about 13 local artists known as the Alexander River. Can we see it?
Water cleared from a Johannesburg river is now being transformed into art as part of a new river rejuvenation project. Ooh. About 150 kilometers of the South African city's rivers are now being rehabilitated, and a long 13-kilometer stretch west is now being upcycled in a unique way. The sculptures known as Alexandra River Creature Series were inaugurated this year as part of a Canadian government-funded project, Sankasa, that is helping to revitalize 3 sites, including the Jaskei River.
As you can see, like when you pass through Alex, there's many people are recycling, or they are renovating their houses. Instead of going wide, they're going up. So they take the trash, whether it's bricks or cement, and they throw it in the river or by the river banks. So I liked the concept of working with the river. It's like it was a collaboration, taking the river, a brick that's eroded by the river, and then making a sculpture with it, as you can see.
The co-founder of the Alexandra Water Warriors, Paul Mululeke, explains how the river cleaning project has also been a source of materials for the Alexandra River Creature Series sculptures.
So this first rainy season, we didn't experience much challenges. The biggest challenge now is those 3 logs, which is like we also have made a plan to make sure that we use them for repurposing or for art installation.
That's really cool. That's really cool. I'd love to keep going, but we're well over time there. I thought that was lovely. That was lovely to see. Bit of a good story to end the show on, guys. So just quickly before I go, a reminder, I'll be live later on today at 8 p.m. if you guys want to join me for that. 2 days we'll be going live at 4 p.m. as some kids provide the link there as well. But if you can't join me for tonight, I'll be back again tomorrow with another Good Morning show at 11 a.m. So if you want to join me for that, feel free to do so. But thank you all for coming along. Thank you guys for all your comments. Thank you, Aston, Kier, and Peter, for your super chats today. I really appreciate it as well. Have a great rest of your Monday, whatever you guys are doing, whether it's working, whether it's relaxing, whatever it is. Do take care of yourself as always. But on your way out, if you can for me, please hit that like button. It'd be greatly appreciated. Share this across social media. Consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't already. And do check out Patreon and Rumble. Links are in the description if you want to check out additional content. There's content on the home tab if you want to have a look there as well. And if you want to financially support me as a YouTube member, you can do so as well for as little as 99p. There, so there's some options there if you want to support me that way as well. But thank you all so much for watching, and I hope to catch you all very, very soon.